Hello eco-aware viewers and welcome to Planet Earth, our loving home. Today, in the first of a two-part series, we focus on the devastating effects of floods on people and our planet. Floods occur when enormous amounts of water partially or fully inundate land surfaces through such events as excessively heavy rainfalls, cyclones, tsunamis, storm surges, ice sheet and glacier melting, and so on. Experiencing a serious flood can be a truly terrifying experience, as conditions are ever-changing and uncertain. Is it safe to drive through a flooded street? Can one walk through the high waters and not encounter dangerous sharp objects, or worse, lose footing and be swept away by the swift currents? Will people be able to survive the time without access to clean water and food? In its numerous reports, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or the IPCC, has observed that around the world there have been widespread increases in heavy rainfall events, even in places where the total amount of rain received annually has been decreasing. Prominent scientists everywhere point to global warming as the reason for this worrisome phenomenon. Climate change researchers have found that animal agriculture is overwhelmingly responsible for the warming of our planet. This harmful activity releases immense quantities of lethal greenhouse gases, and the industry is also the primary cause of the majority of the world's deforestation and land degradation. The alterations to the planet's atmosphere and land surfaces from livestock raising have wreaked havoc on the natural interactions between ecosystems and the hydrological cycle. Climate models cited in Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports project that deleterious human actions such as factory farming, which elevate the amount of greenhouse gases in the air, will mean a continual upward trend in the number of violent weather events in many parts of the world, including those marked by excessively heavy precipitation. Rising sea levels caused by climate change worsen the effect of storm surges and other similar weather extremes in coastal areas by increasing the chances that an inundation will occur. What's more, in the past 30 years, over 2.8 billion people have been affected by floods worldwide, with over 95% of them residing in Asia. Last year, hydrological disasters were the most frequent type of natural disaster, comprising over 53% of all such events globally. Of the 180 reported hydrological disasters worldwide, 149 were floods and 31 were wet mass movements like landslides, with over 57.3 million victims. Compared to 2008, the number of persons affected increased by 27.4%. The continent with the largest occurrence of floods in 2009 was Asia.
Unusual torrential rains hit
cities and other parts of Hunan in China were flooded,
triggering severe floods and landslides.
Nearly 2 million people were affected. From July 11th to 17th, 2009, unusual torrential rains hit Sichuan and Hunan provinces and Chongqing municipality in China, triggering frightening floods and landslides. Nearly 2 million people were affected and at least 17 perished.
On July the 25th, 2009, 7 cities and other parts of Hunan were flooded, affecting 1.3 million people, with at least 12 fatalities, 3,200 homes collapsed, and 14,000 others damaged.
Typhoon Morakot struck Formosa or Taiwan on August 7th and 8th, 2009, triggering severe floods and landslides. Many roads and bridges were swept away, stranding thousands in places like remote mountain villages. At least 121 people perished, 45 were injured, and more than 50,000 troops worked to rescue some 15,000 stranded persons.
Floods deeply impact families, homes and livelihoods. Widespread crop damage caused by flooding can have an immensely negative effect on a nation's ability to feed itself and ensures social welfare and a country's economy.
In September 2009, high tides flooded the Mekong Delta regions in Olac or Vietnam. Thousands of hectares of vegetable crops were submerged in saltwater in the provinces of Ca Mau, Kiên Giang, and An Giang, along with buildings that were flooded in the region's largest city of Cần Thơ. Landslides also occurred in many sections of Ca Mau's eastern coastline, as well as along 40 meters of levees in An Giang province, with trees that were swept away by huge wave surges. Losses endured by the region in 2008 due to climate change resulted in over 100 fatalities and damage to more than 30,000 hectares of rice fields.
Incessant downpours triggered floods from August the 19th through August the 21st, 2009, and affected hundreds of villages in eastern Nepal's Japa district. 8 people lost their lives and over 6,000 families were displaced as hundreds of homes were damaged or swept away, and over 1,000 hectares of crops were destroyed.
Unusual rains in early September 2009 triggered floods in Langman and Nangarhar provinces of eastern Afghanistan. At least 15 perished, and several hundred homes, agricultural land and fruit trees suffered damage.
Numerous makeshift shelters in and around the Somali capital of Mogadishu were swept away in late October 2009 after 2 days of downpours triggered flash floods. Thousands of persons displaced by civil war lost everything and were foodless. Some 6,000 families, or 36,000 people, in the southern coastal city of Kismayo face similar conditions, making them vulnerable to mosquitoes and rain.
When we return, we will continue our examination on the ruinous effects of climate change-induced flooding. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. This is Planet Earth, our loving home on Supreme Master Television, where we are focusing on the disturbing trend of increased flooding worldwide due to climate change. Major floods can devastate infrastructure, thereby hampering rescue efforts and the delivery of much needed aid to those caught in the rising waters.
Traffic congestion was noted as roads became impassable.
4 subway stations also became inoperable
as
due
well
to
as
flooding.
closure of highways and rail service.
In late December 2009, Lebanon struggled through floods and disruption. Heavy rainfalls and high winds caused widespread flooding across Lebanon, particularly in the Beirut and Mount Lebanon regions. Extreme traffic congestion was noted as roads became impassable due to high waters or landslides. Some schools were also evacuated as the water found its way into buildings. Government ministries and other agencies worked fervently together to bring relief to the affected.